Hello, good people. Spot of Nerd here. It is day, I was about to say 333, but it is only day 33. I won't lie to you. I kind of wish it was day 333, but we must continue because I promised you I would go live every single day in 2026, and I'm going to keep doing it. And I appreciate every single one of you for watching, listening, the whole nine yards. I really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate every single one of you. Tonight, we've got three topics of discussion that are definitely political, all over the place, but tie very much into the nerd world, tie into movies, tie into television, music, because of course we're going to talk about the Emmys. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what every single one of these agenda items, because that's pretty much what they are, or I guess what these topics of debate are, simply continue to prove the point that there are, of course, the haves and the have nots of the world. And the majority of us live in what's called reality. These other people, Ricky Gervais had the greatest speech of all time. I think it was the Oscars or something like that. Because ultimately, these multimillionaires, blah 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 blah, they're basically repeating the same talking points that I would say potentially had a little sway, maybe half a decade ago or so. But if you look at the way the world is today, if you look at the way things are, and you don't have to agree with it, in fact, some of you are very vocal about not agreeing with it. The reality of the matter is the majority don't buy this bullshit anymore. All right. I'm going to trust tonight's stream. If you're not familiar, last couple nights or 2 nights ago or something like that, one of my streams cut off right after the title. So I'm going to assume everything is fine right now. I see the clock still ticking, so I'm assuming it's okay. I fucking hope so because that was a bastard to try to recollect that. Long story short, moving on, never going back to that hopefully again. The Emmys was last night. That thing about music and giving awards to all the pedophiles of the world. And yes, I mean pedophiles because let's be very frank, the majority of those people probably have allegedly been on Epstein's lists of fun and things like that. And I don't mean that in a very joking kind of way because the reality of it is it's a real thing. It's not a case of is this real, is it not? This is just facts. And of course, well, where's the facts? Where's the Epstein files? Blah 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 blah. I'm pretty confident if you look at any celebrity that's or maybe had a bad time, maybe was sexually assaulted, blah 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 blah, or even you read some of the memoirs and the biographies of some of these movie stars and musicians and things like that, that in order for them to get to the status that they were, had to do something evil and demonic. And it shows. It really, really does. I don't think you can get to a point with some of these people without doing some of the most horrible shit in your entire life. So that I will never be afraid to shy away from because that is by definition Chris Hansen's metaphoric dream, and I'm sure you can fill in the first part. It starts with a W. And again, it's all alleged. Just to be safe, it's all alleged. But yeah, let's be honest. It's a room full of people that knew Jeffrey Epstein. And if you know who Jeffrey Epstein was, you can put two and two together. So last night, the Emmys happened. And I'm not going to go too deep, I'm not going to dive too deep into this. But other than the usual suspects, I should leave. We're a nation of immigrants. Blah 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 blah. All the usual talking points that absolutely no standard tax-paying American gives one fuck about. I don't care. I'm pretty confident the majority of people around me don't care. And what these talking points are is nothing short of bullshit. It's nothing short of absolute dog wash because let's be frank, and I'm going to show you guys here in a moment. One of the big highlights, of course, was Billie Eilish if you say, I don't know how you say the name, but preaching about fuck ICE and this is immigrant land or stolen land or something like that. And okay, well, what about the ones that came before the Indians and became before the Indians? Like, what about, isn't that stolen land? Like, what about the home that you live in? Oh, speaking of the home that you live in, let's take a look here real quick. Okay. So it looks like back in 2022, Billy and her brother sold their beach house of Malibu for nearly $6 million. And then another one of mine. So the singer purchased a $2.5 million horse ranch in Glendale. And there was another one here. I think I saw. Oh, that's right. Estimated net worth to be $53 million. That was in 2020. That's 6 years ago. Well, okay, maybe say 5, whatever. $53 million. Does anybody see Billy at these protests? I couldn't tell. I mean, I've seen a lot of videos. Maybe I missed her, but did anybody else see that? No? Did Trevor Noah? Anybody see Trevor Noah? No? Nowhere? Any of these other people that went to the Emmys last night? Do you see them on the front lines at all? Protesting? No? Nobody? Bueller? Anybody at all? That's right. Because they're all full of shit. That's just facts. That's truth. That's something we've all known from day one. But the reality, I'm going to keep going back to that. It's a broken record. It's what we do here. I'm Spot of Nerd. The reality of it is the differences between the haves and the have-nots. The have-nots live in reality. We know what the world is and how it works. These people have never had to work a day in their life, and albeit some are very successful and did have to work, so I'm kind of going against my own saying here. Ultimately, I have to give credit actually to Louder with Crowder. He put it beautifully just last week in one of his streams. These people have never seen what you and I see. And what he was going on about is, think about it like this. There might be a beautiful model out there that when they were born, God just provided them this gift of beauty. As they grew up, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, somebody caught their eye and said, you're going to be the next Heidi Klum. You're going to be the next Sydney Sweeney. And they were given millions, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars at the age of 15, 16, 20, 25, so on and so forth. Now, these are the same people that are telling you and I how to live our life, what we should believe in. ICE is dog shit, and they're the authority. Because they don't know any other life. They don't know any other way. So, again, to be clear and to be blunt, everything that those I guess I should just say Epstein guests said is bullshit. And the fact that they're repeating the same bullshit, the same talking points, just proves again the reality difference between the haves and the have-nots. If you would ask me, what would you rather live in? Would you rather live in the haves and the have-nots? I'll take the have-nots. Although it is a little bit poor, less money, I at least have the ability to know the difference between integrity, passion, reality, critical thinking, standard life, human decency, and the best part, knowing the difference between right and wrong and the rule of law. This isn't rocket science, and it shouldn't have to be. But for some odd, weird, stupid ass reason in 2026, it still is. But I'm just a guy on Rumble and YouTube, gets a few dozen folks watching his stream. What am I to say? Who knows? But that's just my 2 cents. Moving on, because we got to keep rolling here. It just continues this path of the have and the have-nots, and the reality in which broken record reality, that Hollywood, of course, falls right in line with this. I don't know if you guys are aware, there was a movie that came out this weekend called Iron Lung. It was created by a YouTube star, and again, let me actually pull this up here for you guys, just so you can kind of understand what I'm referring to. Bear with me just for a moment. So, I guess so there's this YouTube star person called Marky Pliers. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. Basically, he's like probably the top 5 highest earner in relation to content creator, YouTube star, blah 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 blah. He's been on it forever. The dude makes bazillions of dollars. Decided to make a literally a studio produced film, his own studio. He put his own money into it. He was a director. He starred in it. Blah 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 blah. It's already made 7 times its budget, and I believe the last time Hollywood allowed it to be checked as far as data was around $20 million. Now, you might think to yourself, $20 million for an opening weekend on a movie isn't that high, which you are correct. But if you put in perspective that this would have probably been the number 2 movie in the world, let alone the country, does have to make you think, and I might be wrong in the world, but I definitely know in the country. Number 2 in the country as far as self-produced movie. Everything is backed by this YouTuber, as in he put the money in to make the film, he put the money into the marketing, he put the money in to make sure that it ended up in movie theaters across this country. It became second place until, lo and behold, you're gonna love this article from Forbes. The box office basically pulled it and said, "No, we can't have that. We don't want that." As in, it was so successful without the help of Hollywood and the big studios, they shit their pants and said, "No, no, no, pull it off. You can't show this. You can't show success." Think about that. You can't show the success of somebody who has an idea. How fucked up is that? That we now live in this world supposedly where Trump is the dictator and the fascist, and yet Hollywood is literally determining what success is. It's fucking insane. Obviously, there's so many more details to what I'm just going on about. But think about the reality of this. When they said, "Oh, you don't like YouTube? Well, then go make your own." We did. We made Rumble. Rumble is now taking over in relation to, remember the whole battle between MySpace and Facebook? Obviously, Facebook won that game. MySpace got sold off. Dude is now living the dream, making billions of dollars. Hi, what was it? I forget his name. Is it Mike, Steve? The fucking MySpace guy, whatever his fucking name is. It's scary, but it's epic. It's epic because this random YouTuber, although he's not really random, rhetorical. You know what I'm talking about. Makes his own film, which supposedly got rave reviews by the audience. Fuck the critics, because they're gonna destroy that, review bomb it, because of course they don't like success. It's like 90% Rotten Tomatoes or something like that from an audience score. So it's a great film. And he did it on his own. He didn't do it. He didn't need Warner Brothers. He didn't need Paramount, whatever Universal, etc. He did it on his own. Same with Rumble. The CEOs of Rumble literally said, "Oh, you don't like freedom? You don't like freedom of speech? Cool, we'll just do our own platform." Now Rumble is literally probably the number 2 platform in the world in relation to free speech, and obviously what YouTube does. YouTube, sure, it does have the number 1. It's definitely going to be on the top, but not for long. 5-10 years down the road, YouTube's going to be a distant memory. But the question I go with, the bad side and the scary part is how do you defeat the ones that determine whether or not you get to be successful, specifically in this iron lung situation where you're not even allowed to show how successful you've been, thus putting a blinder on to the fact that, can you still do this? It's kind of vague, it's kind of interesting, but I think you guys know where I'm going with it, just in the fact that so much credit to this guy, this Mark blah, 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 blah. Like I say, making 7 times the budget of the film. But again, if we look at this article a little further, I don't you guys don't need to read it, but Let's see. Pulled on the charts. They said it was this was my favorite part. They said it was a glitch at first, but of course, we all know why it got pulled. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it kinda looks badass. It's like this blood planet, it's a sci-fi film. Um, it was originally planned for a limited release, but it expanded to 3,000 theaters. This only makes people like me, aka the normal folk, allegedly. I mean, I class myself as weird and stuff, but whatever. I now want to go see this shit. I want this to succeed so much more now that I will probably go see this sometime this week. I really will. I'm going to try to find a theater and I'm going to go watch this because number one, I want to support this guy, but number two, I want to stick a middle finger to the box office in Hollywood to basically say, this is what happens when you give us shit, when you continue to give us stories and characters that absolutely nobody gives two fucks about. Or the usual suspects, the agendas and the politics, which leads beautifully transitionally into our next topic of discussion. You're going to fucking love this. Ted Lasso, Apple TV's number one show pretty much ever since its creation that Apple TV ever existed. It's so popular, Ted Lasso, that it is all, I kid you not, folks. It has remained in the top 5 most watched stuff. You know how, like, you go to Netflix, you go to Hulu, you have like the top 10 most watched movies, television. Ted Lasso has remained in the top 10 at least since its birth, since Apple TV's birth. The dumbest shit on the planet, and I cannot believe they're doing this. They have made a 4th season. Now, there was speculation when the 3rd season ended that there was never officially a cancellation of the show. Could they have continued the story? Sure. If you ask me, I never really did I never did a full review on it. I thought season 3 ended fantastic. They definitely went down. I thought the first season was fantastic. Second season was dog shit because, of course, they went down the usual suspects. Third season, they kind of redeemed a little bit, and they ended it beautifully. Ted goes back home because he thinks, his family is more important. Holy shit, who would have thought that? That your own home and your own family, your own kid, wife was more important than the money and the fame. Who could have thought? Can't have that because guess what, folks? We've got our first sneak peek into season 4. And I guarantee, without even me telling you a damn thing about it, guess what they're doing? Take a guess. Put it in the comments. If you haven't already, give me the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. I would love you so much because you're going to love this. If you're unaware, minor spoilers, but really you can look this shit up. You're going to fucking love this. Look at this. Watch this. Here we go. Let me make sure I am sharing the proper screen for this correct article. That is a stupid fucking ad, which, God, I hope goes away. Please go away. Yes, go away. Here we go. All right. Ted Lasso set season 4 premiere for probably the summer. There's going to be a new assistant coach. So Coach Beard, gone. And guess what? A new assistant coach at Richmond women's team. Yay, women. Woo, 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 woo. Girl power, girl boss. You can pretty much tell exactly where I'm going with that. So I will give you my quick spiel here for just a second. Let me actually, because again, I want to give you guys, they are literally going down the path that will pretty much erase everything that has occurred in the first 3 seasons, which were truly some of the most incredible television series storytelling that ever existed, although they did go down the usual suspects. You can hear my sarcasm because, yes, ultimately they have done once again, and you do have to blame Apple TV for this. You've gone down the usual suspects in thinking that this is a good idea to continue one of your most popular series. This will destroy Ted Lasso, and I am not going to shy away from that. This is going to absolutely destroy it. Not because it's about women, not because it's about the women's team, But the fact of the matter is, the entire purpose of the series was for him separating from his wife to figure the shit out of life with his kid and love and da da da. Come to learn that they actually did love each other and they got to work it out because of the family and the kids. So he goes back to the States. Nah, these pictures, as you probably see as I'm scrolling through here, nah, we got to go back. No, that's the Billy. No, I got to go back to the right one. Here we go. Yeah, we got to go back to Richmond. And not only that, we got to go teach the ladies. Not only that, we got to get rid of Coach Beard, who was one of the most amazing characters of the series. We can't have that shit, let alone all the other amazing cast members that were there. Can't have that shit. Now, we got to do a women's team because why the fuck not? This is a huge fucking mistake. And I know Apple TV knows it. If you haven't heard about this yet, if you're a fan of the show and you're just finding out, tell me I'm wrong. This is the biggest mistake they're ever going to make. This is going to destroy this popularity. It's going to kill any sort of, I guess, classic nature because it really is that old. Ted Lasso is, gosh, 5-10 years old now. But it is going to destroy any sort of enthusiasm and love that people had for this show. To be clear, not because of the women, not because of the women team or the new head coach, whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is, once again, you are going down the typical edge of ideologies and wokeness and agendas and politics, blah, 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 blah. And you might be thinking to yourself, and I'll wrap this episode up, but you haven't even seen it yet. How do you know? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, trust me. We know. This shit has been written since easily 2019, if not before, early 2000s. But it's only been now driven so far, screwed so far into every aspect of our life. It was only a matter of time. And that is why I'm not shocked. When I first learned of this, I saw the article and I was like, Ted Lasso season 4, oh, they really did go there. Oh, they really did go there. Nobody's surprised. Nobody is anymore. But if anybody at Apple, executive-wise, Apple TV specifically, are listening to anybody like me giving a shit about 2 cents of a very small YouTube channel / Rumble channel, let me be very clear. We don't need to watch the season 4 to know exactly what you're gonna try to do. We've already seen it. And if you're not catching on, everybody else that's tried this has failed. They failed miserably. And it also fails to the point of hitting you in your best spot. And you know what that best spot is? I ain't talking about goodies. I'm talking about your wallet. I'm talking about your pockets. Apple TV, albeit may not be the best streaming service out there, they have made some great shows. I will never deny that. This is going to destroy it. It's not going to destroy Apple TV, but it is definitely going to take a KO punch in relation to financial, to Ted Lasso, to the series, everything in between. It is going to obliterate Ted Lasso. Mark my words, February 2nd, 2026. This is where Ted Lasso dies. Another franchise checked off the list. It's really sad. It really, really is. But what better way to end a show than with a depressing note like that? So, yeah, that was fun. Said absolutely no one ever. But jokes aside, I love talking about this stuff because I think it's really important that we obviously get it out there. We get the opinions out there, we get the truth out there, and we get the reality. Again, that's the main focus of tonight's discussion. The reality of the fact that you and I, the quote unquote alleged normal folk who live our day-to-day lives, going to work, coming home, doing our shit, going to bed, doing the same thing, loving our family, being with people that we love, enjoying the things that we do and passions that we have for these shows and these movies. At the end of the day, and here's your positive side for the night. At the end of the day, at the end of the night, we always will prevail. We always will win. Because nobody wants nobody wants the other dog shit. Nobody wants that crap. And I think for the first time in history, we're starting to turn that table to where we might not need these big studios, these head honchos anymore. We really won't. finally, people are starting to stand up and go, "All right, clearly you're not gonna change. We'll just go do it on our own." And we're proving that we can be successful. And that, to me, gives me optimism that eventually, it will take time. Eventually, the movies, the TV, streaming, the stories, the characters, everything else will correct itself. Again, we got to be patient, but it will correct itself. And I really do actually pray and hope that I'm alive to see it. I really, really do. Specifically in a lot of genres, Star Wars, Doctor Who, the list goes on. But it's going to take some hits and some misses. But ultimately, we will win because we always do. And I thank you guys for watching, and I thank you for listening. We will catch you guys tomorrow, February 3rd. Yeah. Anyway, laters, y'all.